Yeah.
Hunter, say hi to Michael. Say good morning.
Bleh.
Oh, yeah.
Bleh.
This is my packy rhinoceros roar. It's like this. Why?
Mine goes.
And my brachiosaur roar is like this.
And the tortoise goes.
What does the fox say?
That sounds like an Indian fox.
What does this fox say?
We have those Indian foxes where I come from.
So, and this is my Indominus roar.
Oh, we don't.
Whoa.
Indominus roar, buddy. That's super loud. No,
Wow.
Indominus roar.
It sounds like Jurassic Park at your house.
Yes, it's a game of survival over here mostly.
I like it because you remind me of Michael Crichton.
Yeah, Daddy gets weekend survival mode. Mama does it all week long.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
Casey is kind of like Jeff Goldblum in a way.
I pay for your survival.
Oh, yeah.
Look, it costs us all in different ways to be together.
Yes, it does. Oh, what's up here? What is that? Vanu? Wait. Oh, I have little fingers on my eyeballs. I can't read your name. Sorry. All right.
With the face.
We're gonna go. I just wanted to stop by and say hi.
Yeah. And I'm singing. All right, take it
Be
easy.
good. Hi, little monsters. You monsters. Monsters.
That's hilarious. How's it going, Pete? Nope. Putting in your headphones, yeah. Oh, what is it? Sometimes it doesn't let me add you, so sometimes I'll like do the co-host thing to see if it will force you up. Sorry about that. Hey, Pete. They don't want to. They don't want you in.
Getting blocked.
Trying to keep it apart. I think they're onto us. Hey, Varun. How's it going? Good, good. Michael Jagdeo. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So what do you? I apologize. I looked at your profile and it says you're an engineer. So if I try to recruit you, I apologize. I'm a recruiter. I'm a headhunter.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Electricity
No.
was gone. That's why, Wi-Fi connection was broken. So,
It's okay.
yeah.
What type of engineer are you?
What you said? Please repeat.
What type of engineer are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Engineer. I'm a computer science engineering. I'm still a student, but I'm working in a web app and testing. I had talked to you earlier before. I know your name is Michael Jagdev and you are living in Canada. I know about you. You had talked to me.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, we had talked earlier before many times.
Amazing. You know how it is. Sometimes it's. I think you may change your profile picture.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. How you been?
I'm doing great, but right now my exams are going on, so I'm quite frustrated. But now only one exam is left.
Nice.
Yeah.
What? How long till you graduate?
1 year is still left. Right now, like this is my sixth semester exam, and then I still 2 year, 2 semesters are left. It means like 2 years. Sorry, 1 year.
What type of technologies and industries are you working in right now?
Web pen tester, web hacker.
Oh yes, pen testing. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
And what type of companies are you pen testing for?
Well, the company, it's like the company for which I'm competing. It's not a sophisticated company. It is in my own. It's in my city. It is
Right,
in my
right.
city, and it's a startup.
Yep.
Yeah, but like most of the work we get from from the company based on Amsterdam, Netherlands. So like
Right.
most of the work
Yeah,
we import from there.
gotcha. Well, congratulations. You have a job in your field. It's not easy.
Thank you. Well, now I think right now this like information technologies, people have lots of jobs. I think.
You weren't lying, but there are more jobs than talent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is also true. Exactly, 100% true.
Right. So if you're showing off your talent such that you have a job, congratulations. You've just separated yourself from most of the population.
Thank you. Right now, for example,
It's not easy.
yeah, for example, in blockchain development, right now, like I'm doing like ethical hacking since long time, but right now, like if like blockchain is emerging, and once we were thinking about like blockchain is like finding vulnerabilities in blockchain, it is very very hard. Almost like in earlier times, we had like 51% of the computer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is very smart. So are you starting to do penetration testing for blockchains themselves?
Yeah, but yeah, what's like the comment you said? I was like verifying it. Like I was just saying, like till yet I haven't find any bug on blockchain till yet. That's what I was trying to say. Like as you are saying, like talent versus people. So that's I mean I think I want to say like
Yeah.
we have to every day for being like good in your field. You have to battle every day or keep learning.
You're not lying. You're not lying. Hey Pete, you back? Can you speak?
Peter,
Peter, I'm not sure if you're speaking, but we can't hear you. It shows you off mute.
am I audible?
Yep, I can hear you.
Peter, from where like your parents came to Canada? Once you were saying that they were because of your problems, your parents have to come to Canada. From where your parents were?
I'm not sure if Peter can speak.
I also can't.
Mel, what's going on? Have we spoken before?
I don't think we've actually spoken. I've lurked in the.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, but you've been here constantly. Do you think we're wasting our time? Are we having a good time? Are things happening? What do you observe as a silent observer, Eckhart Tolle?
Well, I don't like too much NFT talk because
Who likes too much NFT talk,
all
right?
right, it's just too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, exploring all things Web3, the metaverse, venture capital,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that kind of thing. It's always interesting to me. I've been
mm-hmm.
involved in software. I know that's kind of like an old-fashioned phrase anymore, isn't it? Since the mid '80s. So I like paying attention to
We're in the semantic web now, Melwell.
what.
The software layer is disappearing because it's all semantic. We're going to be using a crystal storage software. We don't need code anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm waiting for a hologram personally, my wearable, so that I can just be anywhere, at any time. But it's a little slow. I've been waiting for a lot of decades, so I just keep waiting. Maybe I'll run into some
Look,
person who's
that is
developing
already
that.
here.
Pardon?
It's already here because Apple glasses are going to ship in the next 18 months to 24 months.
Right.
In my head, we're already here. It's just how might we prepare ourselves in Web 2 where it's flat. I remember my professor, my mentor said that humans create technology to recreate the human experience. And
That's
I've been
correct.
building towards
That's
that
correct. And
thesis
that's what
ever
the
since.
metaverse. That's what the metaverse is. The metaverse is something that
Yes.
we add within ourselves the minute we gain sentience. Okay, all we're trying to do is share our thoughts with each other, our imaginings, our um, uh, bold exercises in art or whatever, music, communication, whatever it is. We're just trying to share that, whether it is charcoal on our fingers or it is an Oculus.
Expression
God,
management.
that's really branding me. A Meta headset. Or whatever the newest next thing is we're just trying to communicate.
This is a soft version of
Right.
what's about to come online, right? A
Right.
very soft version, right? Very single modality. Nah, I can see you, so I can see you. I can't touch you. I can hear you, and I can see your profile picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just imagine this turning up the fidelity and the
Right.
wavelengths in all kinesthetic. I carve kinesthetic,
Right. It's just a
auditory,
matter of
read, write, visual. That's it.
It's just a matter of passes on the plotter, making the
Yeah.
resolution tighter. Okay, so whether you're building greasy atoms, onto some sort of substructure, I'm just trying to recreate the script there in the fifth element, but you know what I'm talking about. Or greasy atoms is one of my it's one of my
it sounds like a software cookbook.
well, actually, it's one of the personas that I use to create digital art. Is Greasy Adam.
Yeah, Greasy
Right.
Adam. I like it.
Right. He's kind of bearded. He's sort of old, and
Well,
sort
it
of
reminds
sour.
me of the quantum nature of atoms. I was talking to the physicist, and I'm like, so hold on. Forgive me for asking this, but what's a phonon? He goes, a quantum of light. And he says, the length of the phonon is the space between the atoms. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when he said greasy atoms, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. They're in, where is it? It's here and kind of over here, too.
And see, I've done a lot of fractal, I don't know what you call it, building engineering, computer or whatever. And so I look at it as like.
What do you mean, like ergodic driven development?
No, I'm just more like using a free program that's available to anybody called Chaotica, where you can either buy the pro version and your stuff ends up getting used in title sequences in modern movies having to do with greasy atoms, or you use it to extrapolate and visualize mathematical equations. Okay, so there's different kinds of fractals. There's the ones that we've seen that we're familiar with, the Mandelbrot set.
Mandelbrot sets, yeah.
Okay, and then there's also the ones like Gendy Tartakovsky used quite frequently in his Samurai Jack cartoons, the sort of tree branching fractals, because really recursion is just
yeah,
or what within itself, hands joining hands and so forth.
I find that one of the levers that the supposed 10x developers use is their knowledge of recursion and how they can use it. And I asked my buddy, like, so hold on, you develop software, everyone else does too. And he says, and I asked him, like, so what's it separates you from them? He's like, I understand recursion. I'm like, what do you mean? And he explained it to me like 7 years ago. I'm like, I kind of I understand how it's thermodynamically efficient, right? And that's good enough for me.
Right. But it's like an Ouroboros. It is the snake
Right.
its own tail. And so when you get
just like the simple counter program, in a lot of ways. I guess
like
if you figured out a way to circle it,
it's like a spinning thought form or a daemon, if you will, just doing what it does.
It's
And
very I
in
remember watching this video on Plato's Timaeus, and the guy said Plato said that the smallest movement was a rotation.
hmm Right. And so, like, that brings me back to fractal animations. So you've got all these different components to an equation that you can change. And the one at the top end is the type of basically visual compression that you're giving to your um, light wave, if you will. And so it's kind of like a hose. You know, when you're trying to reach those flowers in the back, you put your thumb over the hose and give it a little squirt. And how you press on that water dictates how the stream looks, right?
Hmm?
So it's a little bit like doing that with light. And your thumb is like the equation, the type of pressure that you're putting on that light. And it will,
Oh shit! So you're like, whole, I have the universe in my hands, but I know that
Mhm.
the people can't handle that light. It's almost like, wasn't there somebody that said
It's like a
my
fucking
wish,
filter. Yeah, it's a
my
filter. It's a
my
filter
wish
that we
was to
use.
see Zeus in all of his glory, and Zeus is
Right.
like,
And
you understand
so
what
it's
you're
like,
asking me? You're gonna incinerate.
right. And so, we have, like in our eyes. Let's just look at that one sense, and it's the one sense I think that people who are artistically involved use the most. So we have little filters in our eyes, are basically antennas that are the same size as the spectrum of light that we can see. And that spectrum is, broken up into all these different wavelengths and colors. But it's just a small portion. It's just very, very small portion. And that is what keeps us alive and sane and everything is that filter. Because if you were to remove the filter, you would be incinerated on the
Yeah,
spot.
yeah.
The
So I heard
burning
somebody
bush, the burning
like,
bush, and
uh-huh.
the pronouncement that I am, that I am, is all that is
Yeah,
needed.
Tatvamasi, I am that. It's a
Yeah,
great book.
right. So I've been
Nisargadatta, I think.
involved with fractal creation for quite a while, and I have started building in the metaverse using different platforms and so forth for about a year and a half now.
So I'm interested, like you've been looking in the wild. Um, because I'm the host, a system cannot know that which is meta to itself. What
hmm
have you noticed about what happens here?
You mean here in Twitter Spaces or here in this particular space?
Just here in this particular space. What keeps you coming back?
Well,
I'm
it's
just trying to get a
it's the
sense of what people
comments
get
that
from this.
are it's the meta comments that are made. Okay, it's not necessarily the nuts and bolts of launching your NFT art. It's not the nuts and bolts of creating community, which I think is bullshit. I'm going to be really frank here. I love all the people that I have met and have resonated with, but at the same time, I'm not expecting them to line up and pay for anything, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not going to pay for anything that they're doing, but
Hmm.
they need me. If they, as an individual, need me for something, I'm there, right? But
Absolutely.
that whole thing of the sort of clubhouse cliques, armies,
Yes. Disgusting.
gangs, all that stuff to me is extremely adolescent. And
It's
so,
called children.
well, yeah, it's very sweet, but I've seen it again and again and
Yeah, I'm not
within the
interested.
NFT world. I mean, I started in the audio spaces over in Clubhouse, and Elon Musk, the whole NFT Bitcoin thing really, really fired through there. Really, and about at the same time when monetization of the rooms happened, and it really changed everything. Now, in Twitter Spaces, it seems more directed specifically towards the business, right? The business of moving particles around, whether the particles of money, real money, or funny money, or smoke and mirrors, or followers, or hits on things, whatever your data point, your needed data point is. It to me seems way more focused and a lot more bullshit oriented, lot less bullshit oriented than Clubhouse. So I've gravitated here, and then as you know, I do have some friends in the NFT community, and I'm very supportive, and I love their projects. And yeah, story is everything. But as an artist, as a one of one artist who paints in paint, um, you can't get any more NFTE than that. And I personally don't see it most of the time in most of the art. But here we talk about, or you guys talk about things on a meta nature that seems more about pattern recognition and less about matching objects.
It's one of the best compliments I've ever received, I think. Thank you. What's the difference between those two things?
Well, you're sorting, let's say you're sorting stuff, right? Let's say you're sorting eggs. You work in an egg farm and you're at your machine and the eggs come by and they're all unruly sizes and shapes and colors, but you've got a way to sort them. And either it's the holes that the eggs of a certain size will drop through, or it's some sort of a sensor that senses color. And what comes out the bottom of it is your dozens of eggs sorted by size and color. Well, that's basically one to one, very rapid comparison, right? This one's bigger than this one, so this one's got to go here, and blah blah blah, and if then, right? Those are if then phrases in coding. And pattern recognition is the ability to look beyond that and go, hey, as I'm here sorting my eggs at this egg station, I'm noticing that the eggs that come through here between 8 and 9 tend to be bigger than the ones that were in here previously, right? In that wave. And then after, say, 1 o'clock, they start petering off in size again. That's pattern recognition.
Is it that we're adding array dimensionality?
Well, what
Like
you're
time series, for example?
you're
The
seeing
size?
you're seeing the forest for the trees.
Oh, right. And you're seeing the Laplace's twin train
Right.
moving together.
You're starting to see where the roots are connected. You're starting to see how the roots are echoed in the branches above. Right.
Yeah, I call the
You're
wife the
just
chief
not making
mycelium officer. Yeah.
right, like bifurcating choices. The sort of digital on off on
You
off.
know, if anything, you know how much like a simple class in statistics changed my life that's only becoming apparent to me almost
Mm,
20 years later? Just
yeah.
that class in statistics saying, so what we're going to do today is try to figure out how not to lose all our money. How are we going to do that? Well, what's the probability of disaster? Well, it's 0.0001. And what happens if we have a disaster? Well, let's just put the exposure is this. Okay. And then what about the other probabilities? And they just taught us how to multiply weighted average of probabilities with their expected monetary or value outcome. And that's the kind of way I look at a lot of things that happen here. I'd be like, I don't know, you could be right. Is it bettable?
Well, yeah, and it's also the addition of that dimension of time, right? Because usually these choices exist in a timeless place, right? That the decision is going to be correct or true or false, perpetuity. Perpetuity. So, this one is bigger than this one is going to be a true statement no matter what. But when you add the additional component of time and how time is works on that, right? We start to see these patterns. So then, if we go an even bigger meta level, we start to understand the actual nature of time, and its cyclical nature, and its all firing at once nature. Maybe we can make some other extrapolations, and maybe we can,
Heraclitus.
yeah,
That's
maybe
probably
we can,
what it is.
right,
I saw the difference between people who believed in the atom versus people who just believed in change itself. And I
right.
found myself agreeing more with Heraclitus.
And so, the nature of the physical, right, and the nature of, well, the difference between particles and waves, we're told, is kind of unimportant, right? So,
How dare
yeah,
you? Are
yeah,
you
we
saying
say
that a lot of
as
us
we
are
run
still
into it. Pardon?
so? How much of this is still Euclidean geometry versus non-Euclidean geometry?
Well, have you ever read the book Flatland?
No. Should I?
It's yeah, it's old. It's like 1900s or something like that, and
Love
it's
it.
written
Yeah.
by a Dutch uh, mathematician. I think his name was Abbott,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great. It's little, and the PDF is online, so you don't even have to crack Amazon. But what it is about a place where um, the existence was a plane, right? And there were beings on that plane that were polygons, right? And the more sides you had, the more spiritually evolved you were, right? Because you basically created more sides to yourself, more uh, polygonal complexity, approaching a circle as you became more evolved, either philosophical or religiously or whatever. So, most people were squares, right? um, Unfortunately, the book was written at a time where sexism was pretty rampant, and so females were acute. Well, actually, more like lines, and they had to have a little boot on their end, and they had to scream constantly so that people wouldn't get pierced by them. Soldiers were acute triangles because you see the brain is right there at that apex point, and the smaller the brain is, the easier it is to control you and keep you in line. And then, as you approach the sort of circle idea, that angle gets larger, and therefore more room for the brain and more room for your expansiousness. So this guy is sitting in his study, and he's contemplating the world, and it's New Year's. And as the clock is striking, there's this point that shows up in his living room, and then it gets bigger, and then it turns into a circle that just turns bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and turns into a point. And it turns out it's a sphere trying to talk to him, right? And so, of course, as this two-dimensional being, he only sees this point, and then bigger evolving circles, and then smaller, and so forth. And the sphere bumps him out of his plane and shows him, say, a world that is just a point, where it's one entity going hum, I'm here, I'm it, I am extreme, I'm wonderful, and the square is going, God, you're a fool, you have no idea what all is out here. And then the sphere takes him to a line and said, see, everybody's kind of arrayed out here in this line, they're only aware of the thing in front of them.
Yes, Ahmed told me about this book. You know what? When two people tell me about the same book, that means I really have to read it.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
really do.
I
You really
really
do.
have to read it.
It was life changing for me, and I was a little kid when I read it. So I'm saying that I've thought about this book a lot, and I forgot the name of the author, and then somebody mentioned it, and I grabbed onto it. It's like my white whale for a while. But to me, this is like a morality tale that describes that there's so much that we don't understand. We're kind of like these beings in a line, We don't, or on the plane, we don't
I had a
understand
guy
all these other
explain.
dimensions.
I had a guy explain like a hand. He asked someone, "Which is the most important finger on your hand?" And everyone has a different answer. And he said, "Well, why don't you, for example, take away your pinky
Uh-huh.
and see how your hand works? Everyone around this table is here for a reason that we don't necessarily understand."
Mm-hmm. Right. But, if you're a guitarist and you're right-handed, if there's any finger that you could lose your right-handed pinky and maybe still play guitar, right?
Yeah, in fact, sometimes if you lose that pinky, you end up playing guitar better because of the way like desire works. You become
Right, or
like
you
the
become like
daredevil of guitar.
Reinhardt. Yeah, you work out some other tactic for
Life is strange. Like just like plants that can grow through concrete, the human brain and the remapping capabilities of it's astonishing.
Well, yeah, and so healing, and then say, well, let's just take something that's kind of fruity, but not too la, like remote viewing, right? Are you familiar with what that is?
No, tell me more, please.
Well, it's like the ability to see some place that you've never seen by being given coordinates, right? And it's like a skill that you can develop. And the Russians and the CIA, the U.S. government have been working with this since, I guess, the 60s. And so it's a way to see hidden stuff. Of course, now with our satellite technology, we can corroborate a lot of things that we're seeing in remote viewing. But it's a way to sort of tweak or ping the atoms, if you will, to um, sort of exercise their quantum state, their connectedness, right? Their entangled space. And so, if I were to close my eyes and to start visualizing, say, a place that I wanted to be, I could actually almost be there, like virtually be there.
Yes,
And
experientially be there. Yep,
Are you
yep.
talking
right.
about
And so,
remote viewing, like the gateway experience, etc., hemispherical sync, blah blah blah?
well, you'll see it listed as, devil's influences. Um, in church flyers, but yeah, it's considered a gateway kind of thing, and
No. What I mean is the program instituted by the CIA was called the Gateway Experience.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, you're
Yeah.
using the code. I didn't know that. There's a guy that meets regularly on Clubhouse. I've forgotten his name, Dr. David something or other. He was a member of that particular program, and he's actually teaching people how to do it. And I guess he's got some sort of a class that he runs through his website and so forth. But I've always been really interested in it because
I thought you were talking about CCTV when you first said it. Yeah,
no.
remote viewing.
Yeah,
It's like
remote
you're talking
viewing.
about
Yeah, I'm
access
just gonna
communication and
Yeah,
stay away
right.
from
vision.
my garden
The,
from my
the
ring
dude's
camera.
name is Dr. Monroe, and he runs a place called the Monroe Institute, where you can go still today
Mm-hmm.
and be trained in the gateway experience, which is a process of using different tones to bring your two hemispheres of your brain into what's called hemisync. Yeah.
Yo, you know the music theory behind it? I want to try
Well,
that.
Yeah,
if
dude,
you
just go on YouTube and type in Gateway Experience Tape 1.
right, or remote viewing if you want to start at the very beginning and the layout, what it means. It's also very similar to some of the
Yeah.
paths for astral projection, these kinds of things. So,
Have you looked at the music theory behind what they're doing? Like, I know my fair share of music theory. That's why I asked.
No,
well,
it's not really music,
tones.
man. It's two separate tones that are separated by a very specific frequency. So
Good.
one side of your brain interprets, like, so the two tones are piped into your left and right, like, so you
Oh,
have to
it's
have
the
headphones
binaural
on.
audio.
And
Yeah.
you could use other senses as prompts. They're basically essentially just prompts. And
Well,
it's
the
to
CIA uses
see.
these tones.
I understand, but I'm talking about this in a wider sense. Okay, so for astral projection,
No,
the
no, no.
smell.
There's no wider sense. This thing is fully fleshed out. Like the document, you can just read it. Like it's not some hippie shit, man. It's real science. It's fully fleshed. Like it
I
was all
understand.
done. It
I
was all
understand. I'm just trying to get
declassified
you
like
to. I'm
15
just
years
trying to
ago.
get you to pop out of the plane for just a second and see it in a wider sense. But it's all good.
If you're just joining us, this is Together Alone. Have you ever wanted to be together, but didn't like people? Well, this is the most beautiful part about Twitter Spaces. This is called Together Alone. How might we be together, yet alone? That's right, together alone.
Right. It's like parallel play.
Because who wants to be with people? All of us. And that's the problem.
Well, your mother arranged a play date, and you're just not jiving with the kid, but you're fine playing side by side. I think we call
The
this
kids you disagree with, right?
accountability or something like that. It's what we call it now.
Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing about this kind of space is that people can fight one day and it allows them to be friends the next in a lot of ways. Does that make sense? And I now hear them be like, hey man, you know about like a week ago when we blah blah blah? Yeah, it's all good, dude. It's like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Right?
Well, yeah, it's like finding someone who's capable of playing your games with you, right? Because if you make up a game, you know all the rules, right? So if you find somebody who's like right there with you, go, wow, man, that's
You know,
cool. That's really cool.
see,
But we're
the,
playing a game.
here's the other thing. Like the meta thing about this is because it's recorded, it's technically a show, right? And I see the conflict as some of the best parts of the show. I can't help myself. And if we are in a Hegelian thesis, antithesis, and then isn't that the way forward?
Absolutely. And then all of a sudden, there's a possibility that something new, I know that that's kind of rare, might squeeze out.
Might squeeze
You
through like a greasy atom.
Right.
One thing, Mel, Megatron. How are you, Mr. Helium? How's the Helium network going for you?
Helium network is going decently. Nothing crazy right now.
Nothing changed since A16Z threw in their money?
I went up a little bit, but nothing crazy. That's more
Nothing
for the
crazy.
back end and the technology side.
So now that it has backing, what do you think is going to happen? Because you prophesized this whole thing a long time ago. At least what, 18 to 24 months ago, you made a decision on helium. What happens in the next 18 months?
Well, what I'm hoping is that it works well with the 5G and they expand and they keep pushing forward. There's so much competition to the helium shit out there as well. They got the um sidewalk thing happening from Google and all of that. And Alexas have their own little thing in there that you got to make sure you turn these things off or they actually interfere with the helium. So I
Oh,
don't know,
yeah.
man. We're gonna see, but I'm happy to see that there's a lot of backing for it, and I'm happy to see that they're pushing forward.
Yeah, I like to get trading advice from miners like Megatron.
Like honestly, I don't know. It was just for me. I was like, well, it makes sense what they're doing, and that's why I wanted to get involved. And when I wanted to get involved, that's when it was making the most money. So it was honestly pure a financial decision on, well, if I spend $400 and I can make that back in a month, like it makes sense.
It's very pragmatic. Yo, how was did you transition into the new thing?
So I am still in the middle of whatever the hell they're trying to do with me, which seems like bullshit. Um, Yes, so I was supposed they gave me a job to manage. They sent me there one day. They gave me all the paperwork. Went there with one of the techs, went over everything, was like, look, this, that, this, whatever. Haven't been there since, haven't even looked at it anymore. And I'm still trying to get these other two projects done. So, but
Just do it.
it kind of started. I got my first little paperwork bundle to deal with right now, you know?
Yeah, congratulations. It's happening. They often have you do the job before they give you the job. You know what I mean? Just to make sure they want to hedge their bets before going all in. I understand.
But also the people who are promoting me know me for 10 years. It's not like they're worried about
Yeah,
what I can and can't do. They already know what I can and can't do. Just be a matter of
yeah,
teaching me what I don't know how to do.
yeah. And there's a transition period for that. It sounds like you're in the eye of the tornado of the transition period.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it all goes, man. You know?
Yo, congratulations, man. It's happening.
Hey, listen, I'm getting paid right now, and that's what counts. You know, I got the raise, and just the position is
Eh,
not 100% in place yet. So,
but they can have the position, just leave the money the same.
exactly. You guys want to drag your feet on this? Go ahead.
You can call me a janitor. Just keep that salary the same.
Yes, sir.
I will be the highest paid janitor on the planet.
Yeah, so I'm hoping by the end of this month I'm really fully into it, and you know by September I'm you know really fully into that position and not doing this half and half thing, you know?
That's a long time coming, man.
Yes,
That's a long,
sir.
probably like what, 18 months, some shit like that. It's a long time coming. That didn't happen overnight.
No, absolutely not.
How long you been waiting for this?
Well, so when I originally went to the job, like I had this job for a while, and I quit. And when I quit, they offered me my job back as the project manager, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like being stuck behind the desk. So this was like 3.5 years ago. Then someone else quit, and they were like, "Oh, just come. We don't care. You don't have to be a project manager. Just come because we need you." So I was like, "All right, fine, I'll come." So I went to the job, um, and then I saw like internally they're hiring all these other project managers who don't know their ass from the elbow, don't know anything about the systems we're using or anything, and it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, so I got to the point where I'm like, look, I see another fucking project manager come through here, and you don't like. At least me or this other guy should be a project manager. One of us two, you know, because we've been here, we paid the dues, and it's overdue. So finally, they got with the theory of, oh, it would probably make sense to hire someone from within to be a project manager, you know?
What a concept.
Oh, they'll hire a project manager from like a toothpaste fucking manufacturing company. Okay, he knows how to manage fucking toothpaste. That's great. But what about what we do?
What do you mean? Isn't it the same?
You would think,
It's the
right?
same. It's the same, Mega. What's the difference? We, right? It's a cable and a camera, isn't it? Isn't that how complex your job is? There's cables and cameras, and that's it.
I wish.
Which you know, some of the people that I've known that I've worked with that have got paid the most money have had to leave before they were bought back for twice the price. When people realized that, oh fuck, this guy's doing 5 different jobs. Did you guys know this guy was holding up this whole ship?
Right. Yeah.
And the thing is, sometimes people have to leave before people actually realize what they were doing, because people don't know what you're doing until you leave. They just think you're
Right.
doing your job description. They think humans are fungible.
No, that's a solid point. You know, it goes back to you don't know what you have until it's gone, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, look, if talent was treated right, my job wouldn't even exist. Like, why should a recruiter exist? It's stupid. It doesn't even make sense for a recruiter to exist. But people can't be trusted on both sides of the table. You want to see someone more untrustworthy than a candidate? An employer. You want to see somebody more untrustworthy than an employer? A candidate who has a chance to make $250,000 if they bluff you correctly. You know, that's like the poker table of white collar prostitution is like, hey, can I bluff you into making you believe I have big tits?
Right.
Crazy.
The best part about
That's
my
great.
my
I love that.
situation though. Oh, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Ann.
Hey, good morning, everyone. No, I just want to jump in real quick. I just want to say hi. I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know if, well, I know Michael knows. About,
What's the latest?
okay, so I did it. I finally advocated for myself for once in my life for my job. And yeah, I went ahead. So yesterday I had like the meeting, not with the guy that would hire me, but the person who would put me forward to be hired, right? I have to get through one person. That person has to recommend me to the job for me to be considered. And to get through her is like Game of Thrones, right? It has been Game of Thrones for 2 years in a way. So I'm hoping she seems to be really okay about letting me go out of the group here, which is great because I kind of need her to do that, to be okay with me letting her go. And I think I've orchestrated that okay, because if I haven't been problematic in the last 6 months, but I've definitely not been happy, and it's been showing. And so she's, I think, at this point, like, oh my god, yeah, this actually might be a good way, maybe not to get rid of her, but to put her somewhere else where.
So it's still she's transforming the risk on her table.
Yes. Yeah, and in my industry, you get jobs by recommendation only.
That's every industry, but people
Every
don't
industry,
understand that.
right? But here's
Most jobs aren't advertised. They're filled before they ever get to a job description.
but she, yeah, yes, that's that. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Um, but there's if a person that you recommend does not work out in a certain way, it does not land well on the person who put you
Well,
like at all. Like it's
yeah.
huge black marks. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think for her, she's just making sure that, I don't know. I mean, I make her a lot of money here in Los Angeles. I make her a lot of money. So for her to be like, okay, go, you know what I mean, is good for me, and also show. I don't know. At the end, it's good
So
for her. I'm going to
if
stop
she,
making her money. I literally walked out of the work yesterday.
so well, like, are you packing? Like, what's happening right now?
Oh,
You
okay. So she's actually having a meeting either later today or tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. She said the 15th. Tomorrow with him, where she is now, because she herself has had to make a decision whether to go to Florida with the team or to stay in Los Angeles. So she's refusing the Florida job and staying in Los Angeles. So I'm breaking away from the group and going out on my own. Right? She's at a meeting tomorrow, and she's saying to him, I have so and so here. She wants to be full-time employee of yours in Florida. Let's go. Kind of, where can we place her? Yeah.
what a transaction.
Tell you what, it is insane. And there's so much emotions, on all sides. It's crazy.
You've been there for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's almost like I imagine it's the moment when a broker loses their best real estate agent because they're becoming a broker.
Right. No, right. But she listened. She said literally in the meeting yesterday with all of us, because we had a big meeting, the whole team. And I mean, the second she said, look, they want me and they don't give a shit about you guys, right? They want me because she's the head and she can train anybody. We're the problem because we cost too much money now. I said, I went immediately. Right after that meeting, I was like, I need to talk to you. Like, I just need to talk to you, one-on-one right now. Yeah, I'm not out, but yeah, I'm out. Kind of. I'm not going to work for a company that views me as a person that's not even needed as
Yeah,
well.
you think it's fungible. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, exactly. She literally told us like she's not, because they told her that she's not. Like they want her because they want her to climb in the corp, in their corporation. But they don't care about us because we're the workers and we are replaceable.
Yeah, the idea is that the nurses, uh, it's the same way they treat nurses,
Yes.
right? I get
Yeah.
it. People who have the most on the ground interaction with the customer or the product are the ones treated the worst. And the people who are less in customer engagement or product engagement, those are the people of higher status. They on being sane in insane places was the study where they put 20 sane people in an insane asylum and nobody could tell that they were not insane. And they're like, what the fuck is psychology if you can't tell what the difference is? And they found though that the label was sticky. That's a pun about weed. The label was sticky, and that once you gave them a label, you understand.
No, I do. No, it's just so that moment became very clear to me. Oh shit! Like I just have to go back into what I do best in managing, right, and try to get into this other company which is starting and which has a lot of growth where I can grow. So
You wouldn't have
again.
that opportunity without this one. They're connected, right?
And here's the thing, I don't have that I don't have that opportunity. I do kind of have that opportunity here, but I would have to get rid of her, right? I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not into that. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? That would
Two
just take me too
adults can't
long.
in one pen.
Yeah,
So,
like I would
so
literally
Ann,
have
what
to
do you
get rid
do
of her.
though?
I work in the marijuana industry. I
Oh,
I
salute. Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
wasn't
this is a very
expecting that.
exciting
I gotta be
time.
honest.
No, this is a
You
very
thought it was
exciting
like an
time because it's
accountant?
legal, right? It's turning legal. So now we're dealing with corporations growing marijuana, right? I'm now going corporate for the first, well, not the first time, but I'm going back into corporate now.
What does corporate mean for you? Like, what does corporate mean for you now?
Well, possibly a little bit more steady. Signing contracts for 2 years, a year contract, 2 year contracts. Yeah, being able to. I mean, I know middle management is always the problem, right? So like that's where I flourish though, and I it sounds strange, but yeah, I'm really good at managing. So like and for me, like it gives me a chance to get back into that, go up instead of just treading water. I've just been treading water for a couple of years, and I'm done treading.
What would you
I've
be
reached
managing?
out of the water. Yeah.
I'm just curious, what type of things would you be managing? You talked about like the media and marketing. Is
Oh,
that this?
possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I did because my best bet to get in there would be on the growing side too. So like, I might even get back into growing again and managing the actual like facilities and the lines and the watering schedules and things like that.
You're gonna be Gaia.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny.
Gaia
My
service.
Yes, exactly. No,
I'm
when people
failure
ask me what I
thing.
do, sometimes I say I'm a water allocation specialist. That's my
You know
job.
what's so funny? Like some of the really old hedge funds, if you see what they own like California water rights. And you're like, what the fuck is a California water right? And you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, that's gold. That's what that is.
oh yeah.
That's money. Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, I live in New Mexico, and there have been some major lawsuits that have been um, finalized that have just shook the whole state, having to do with water rights. So yeah, that is the gold standard.
It's a deep ocean out there.
Yeah, it is. New Mexico. That's cool. What part? I lived in Santa Fe for 5 years.
I live up in Taos.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, I know. Like, And I'm living in my ex-boss has started a grow, and my ex-boss was the mayor of Taos. So he's got a major grow operation happening up here. So he knew what was
That
happening.
does not surprise me. New Mexico is as corrupt as any other state,
Oh
and
my!
it doesn't surprise me that, you know.
It's
No,
so funny.
I can
Jackie and
imagine
I.
who's being given those licenses in New Mexico. I could
Oh
probably
yeah.
name like 5 of them
The
right
opinions
now.
of the
And
syndicate
then
do not necessarily represent that of the host. I love New Mexico and everything's above board.
Above the law.
the law
Yes,
west of the Pecos, right?
I believe in democracy and I believe that capitalism and that and I believe in lobbyists and I believe in all of the things that have brought us to this point officially. I disagree with all of their statements, Your Honor. Listening to this in the future. No, I'm just joking. I'm just having fun.
And
I fully say.
everything I've looked at is declassified now, right?
Look, at the end of the day, like I mean, like you want to talk about that shit? I'm in Canada, dude. You know, you want to talk about immigration law? If Americans found out about Canadian immigration law, they'd be like, "Hold on, Canada's been an asshole the entire time." Yeah. That's why we use the leaf. Nobody sees us coming.
For real. No, I know this because I've tried to get into Canada. Not tried, but I've looked into it. I actually
Her
am
name is
lucky
Anne
because I
Marie.
have a European
Anna
passport,
Maria.
and it's so fucking difficult.
Uh-huh. It's not. You have to have the job offer. That's what
But
I do.
like, you can't have DUI. If you have a DUI, you can't. Can you even visit Canada at this point?
It just you need if you want to get to Canada, this first step is a job offer. Because then the job offer you can say, "Hey, look, government, I'm not going to be on welfare," and they're like, "Thank God. All right, come on in."
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Why do you think all these? Where do you think Vitalik came from? Waterloo University, right? Chamath, Waterloo University. You know what I mean? They all come here, get jobs in the States. They get co-op jobs at Waterloo to work at Microsoft. That's how all the software is built. It's by Waterloo engineers. They come and immigrate here with their master's degrees and with 6 years of experience in Google, and they get like an associate's degree for a couple of years and be like, all right, I have the paperwork. Okay, fine, you can come in now.
Damn, that's the loophole, huh?
And then the brain drain has typically been going south, but now the brain drain has come north because, congratulations, Canada, we beat every American city for the chance to host HQ2 for Amazon. If you look at Amazon, they're placing all the jobs right where I live, actually in Hamilton, and building all the software downtown Toronto. So they added like 1,000 to 2,000 people in the past 18 months without letting anyone know that we won HQ2.
Yeah, that
Canada.
was really stealth. That was so stealth. That was incredible.
I mean, you still have a proximity to New York, and then you have proximity to Ottawa and Waterloo and Montreal by train. The thing is, we won on our network connection of cities, not on anyone's city.
I think what you're saying is that you won because of the reality and not just because of some palms being greased, right?
You know what? The thing is, everyone is greasing palms, but then it just puts you on a level playing field, right? Okay, you bribe for 10 million. Okay, we all did. Okay, so now we still compete because everyone's bribes are ceteris paribus, right? At that point, so it's like, okay, so what can we do? So the policy is made in Ottawa. How long does it take to get from Ottawa to Toronto? Oh, by train, like a few hours. What about Montreal when we need the games developed by Ubisoft? A couple of hours. Okay, what happens when we need to find the new Stanford of computer science? Oh, that's Waterloo. How many? Oh, that's a couple of hours too. How long to New York? 9? All right, sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound like, I mean, it's so nice up there too. It's very enticing, I'm sure, for anybody who even wants to, live. I don't know. I've always seen Canada as this like bastion of like hope. I don't know, and it's probably not. And the more I
You know,
look at
it,
it,
you know
the more
what? It's a
insane
healthcare
their
thing.
laws
The
are.
healthcare loophole that we have, I've seen people turn down job offers because they realize, fuck, even if I make $500,000 a year in the UK, my healthcare cost, now that my age is where it is going to delete everything I make.
Yeah,
And so
yeah, like
it's like
that's
it's like the golden handcuffs. This healthcare thing.
yeah. It's the healthcare thing is out of control. I will say, I would move anywhere at this point.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
As
yeah.
much as I would like to escape one day, it's like, where else are you gonna find this healthcare? You want to break a leg in a fucking island paradise? I don't think so.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't want to break the leg. Actually, God, yeah, that would be an interesting list actually to do.
When I had my concussion in Italy, I had to get my CAT scans and MRIs on the local economy because they didn't have the resources on the military base for some of those higher level things because they just had such a small hospital. And it took me 3 days. Mind you, when I got it done, I finally had, they found that I was slowly bleeding into my brain. But it took 3 days to get in to have the final scans done. Luckily, it was a slow bleed. But what I was told is if you start getting really severe migraines that are so painful that you just are thinking about shoving something up your nose and like scratching your brain because it hurts so bad, go to the emergency room. Mind you, I was told all of that through a translator. They said because that would probably mean that you have a quick bleed and it's going to clot and you'll probably die. So be quick about it. That was what I was told as I was scheduled for 3 days later.
I was telling him yesterday that you're the closest I know to Born Identity.
Yeah, that was a fun 3 days of sitting in the dark, in a dark room with no sound, waiting, just trying to not hate my self. So
Wow.
that's socialist healthcare. You know, you only one CAT scan in like a 400-mile radius around from where it happened. So I had to wait in line for everyone else that was scheduled. I'm
Now
not
here's
saying that it's bad. Like, I
Mhm.
think that there's definite benefits to everyone having healthcare, and I think everyone should have healthcare. But I don't think I think there's pros and cons to whatever system. Like, I don't know. Mike says it all the time.
Yeah.
It's
The interesting thing that I've seen is there are two industries. There's the formal healthcare system, and then for point solutions, you know what I mean? For like really checkups, people are going to naturopaths to so that they don't have to wait in an emergency room. You know what I mean? To check something out. They'll just go to a naturopath and be like, "Hey, check me out." Oh yeah. All right, sounds good. Whatever you do, make sure they don't do surgery. You know, that's usually a lot of the advice.
yeah. I mean, I think that I don't know. I think the system's broken because it's so profitable, and it's sad, but you know, it is what it is. I think that we're at least making strides with things like Mark Cuban's pharmacy company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that is a step in the right direction. And I think when that gets disrupted, I think that there's going to be disruption throughout the entire system. Um, and it really is just it's the same thing with the prison system. I think that for-profit hospitals and for-profit um, prisons are no bueno. Just ultimately, I think that there can be some, right, but I think that the overwhelming majority need to not be for profit. Um, like that's just my opinion, but yeah, I'm a capitalist at heart, but I think that there are certain things that capitalism just
I,
fails at.
I'm going to say something that may make you all hate me, but I think the reasons that Republicans don't like abortion is because they understand industry very well.
I hope I'm not the only one that Got that.
It's cold, but they understand what for-profit industries do better than anyone else. Ask a conservative what a capitalism can do for a society, right? And then ask them, what do you think if you just took babies out of the way, you know what I mean, and replace it with something else? They would love that business plan.
Well, I also think, like, for me, I've always thought, like, why don't we just give more tax breaks? But to get the tax breaks, you have to give large sums of money to very established, like, charities. So instead of the government, right, instead of the Wounded Warrior Project having to write these grants and get a large sum of money from the government, right? Elon Musk is like, oh, I need to, do 500 million in taxes this year. Here's 5 million to Wounded Warrior Project. He just funded their entire year, right? Like, but that's the only way he can get tax breaks at a certain percentage is by funding full, like, social good projects.
Yeah, I mean, they call that the Microsoft Foundation, don't they?
I don't know enough about the public. I don't know about public policy. That's not my area, and I really haven't decided to read up on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it. It's quite horrifying.
Maybe when I run for Senate or Congress one day down the road.
Yeah, that's one of the discussions. I mean, I think that's actually the plot of the Ozarks. Sorry. Isn't that how the Ozark ends?
Is that the TV show? Is that TV show on Netflix with Jason Bateman?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to watch it.
Oh, sorry. But
is it good?
I thought it was outstanding. It's one of the last, before you guys replaced my TV, it was outstanding.
It's really good. It's worth it. Yeah.
You guys deleted my need for TV. Like, it's not even comparable anymore. Like, why would I watch some one-way experience? It's boring.
And have you ever talked with Craig on here on Twitter Spaces?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna send you a gentleman to follow. He's in a similar green friendly industry.
It's okay to say it. It's legal.
It's not legal federally for the United States Army, so therefore.
Oh, I know. No, I know. I'm listening. I'm butting up against that. We got because it's legal, but then certain people can't work in the industry. It's very interesting. So
and if you think about this, right? So when Prohibition ended, it took 20 years before liquor was allowed to be sold on military bases.
Okay, so let's see.
Even after legalization federally of hard liquor, military members it was illegal for them to imbibe on base, and it was illegal for them to be drunk or possess it. So
really? Okay,
yeah.
so let me ask you a real quick question. So Prohibition, what years was that? In the 20s, right?
I think it was like, was it 29 to 30 or
29 to 30? So that's interesting because that was right up against World War II.
Yep, they weren't allowed to sell or possess on base until almost the 50s, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think that we're going to face a similar challenge. Not that it's a giant market, but I think that there's going to be a lot of issues if it does become legal federally. I think that a lot of the restrictions will remain in place for service members until the military can decide what it does to the effects of readiness, right? Because if someone comes into work drunk, we have rules and regulations that dictate what should be done and how to handle that. But what is it and if they're high, right? What if they're
You'd have to make policy, I guess, for that, because if you're drunk, it's like 4 hours you're sober, right? Again,
yeah.
But if you're high, there's a longer lasting effects than
Yep.
alcohol.
And the other thing is like, well, is there going right? Someone goes out and smokes a cigarette, they're getting a buzz, they're getting a high, right? But we don't have rules against it, right? How do we do this? Do we treat it like tobacco or do we treat it like alcohol? So I think that there's going to be a lot of conversation around it for, I think, a lot of federal employees, first responders. You know, what if police start wanting to do it? You know, I just think that there's some questions.
Yeah, but we have. I mean, there are already not laws, but rules like within your union and whatnot that say you can't be high at work.
But wait a minute. What if before you had to light off your weapon, you had to take a pull first from the blunt? Maybe you don't pull that trigger. You know? Maybe you guys chill the fuck out. You never.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. They're definitely not gonna let the marijuana fly.
I'm just going to insert this and then go back on mute. I did a cannabis documentary a few years ago. They put up 300 people in the theater and they paraded out like a pageant 5 cannabis startups. One of them was a fridge that you plug water into the top, and 3 months later you either have strawberries, lettuce, or lettuce. You know what I mean? So the documentary is there. I wrote it in a way, or I did it in a way that would be for only people in the industry, right? So I start with, this is how much in Colombia, they have it at 70 cents, and Lesotho or Lesotho, they have it down to 40 cents a gram. You know, that's where it starts. Will Canada import cannabis, and from where and what price? So I think you guys would really enjoy it.
Cool, thank you. No, thank you. No, but it's Zach, it's very interesting that you know, those questions, because, you know, even to me, like, I know there's a difference between alcohol and there's a difference between marijuana, and it does hit people differently, just like alcohol. Like, one person can have one drink and be completely out of their fucking mind, while the next person can have 12 and seem okay. You know, same with marijuana. One person, listen, nobody ever knows. I'm probably high most. I've probably never met 99% of the people sober in my life. And that's not to say that I'm like fucked up. It's just that to say, when it comes to legal amounts of marijuana in your system to the law, yeah, there's a lot of people out there like being able to function, but then there's definitely the outliers who who cannot handle, you know what I mean, their marijuana. Yeah. So yeah, and I guess like in places of work, there has to, I mean, even now, like, you can't be, you're supposed to not be high at work, right? You sign something that says you're not going to be high or inebriated. So yeah, you don't need to put your hand up, Carlos. You just jump right in. Hi.
Hello. How's your name pronounced? Margie?
Anna Maria.
Ana Maria. Ah, that's like Ana Maria in Spanish.
Yeah, similar. Yes.
Yeah, similar. Yesterday, someone reminded me a joke about the West Side Story. There is a scene where the guy goes into the Spanish ghetto and screams, Maria! And the comedian said, and only one girl appears on the window called Maria in a Spanish neighborhood. That's the reason Broadway is always lying in the movies.
That makes sense. Carlos, I haven't seen you in a long time. The first time I met you was like 18 months ago on Twitter Spaces, when we were just fumbling.
Exactly. I'm glad to see the little unicorn this time in a negative version, because you used to have it like a black over white.
Positive version. I didn't find that was working out too well, so I went negative, and everything's been uphill since then.
Ah, very good, very good. I just wanted to jump in first because, when I was listening to the commentary about the military intake of alcohol and stuff, I just wanted to share with you my experience in my job, because I was like 30 years ago a stand-up talk show host in the Steve Allen, Johnny Carson, today Jimmy Fallon style. I mean, the classical, I am very, very classical in that sense, the official genre. of talk show host, of late night comedy talk show host. And something that happened is that in Venezuela, I started very young. Today I'm 61 years old, but I started writing for an SNL-like TV show that we used to have in Venezuela. In that moment was the biggest station, Radio Caracas Television. And I started very, very young at 17 years old. And then after 11 years, when I was 28 or something, I had the chance to try for the first time in my country a TV talk show, a comedy talk show. They had never seen one. I started to learn about that thanks to some friends bringing me VHS tapes of David Letterman and Johnny Carson, of course, and stuff. And I fall in love with the genre. And I said, why the fucking hell we don't have anything like that in our country? So I decided to leave the crew of writers and try to get into the something like Conan O'Brien did, that Conan was a Simpson writer and then he dreamed of becoming sometime a TV show host. And something happened regarding alcohol. In the first era of Venezuelan television, of all television, and I guess it was the same in the States, alcohol, well, you remember, if you see, for example, and searching YouTube right now, and nowadays, the old roastings of Dean Martin, which were wonderful, you see people drinking and smoking like hell. And of course, the 99% of the career of Dean Martin is around not his songs, but his drinking. And it's something just like, it's
Wow.
very, yeah, it's incredibly, but they were very funny and they would make alcohol jokes in a very funny fashion. But that doesn't, I mean, it's a fact that alcohol is dangerous, has killed millions of people unjustly. I mean, I don't want to become suddenly tragic here, but last year here in Venezuela, the family of a friend of mine, he was the only survivor because he didn't take that car. They were a family of 5. They were 6, and they were 5 in a car, and a drunken guy jumped the highway and fall over their car and kill them all. 5 people, the full family. And the motherfucker driver was totally, I mean, he didn't have a rash. I mean, he survived it totally. He's in jail now, but the family is dead. So what I wanted to share is this. We are the hosts of these comedy programs. In the old era, they did allow drinking a little bit before the show. And they offered alcohol too, because what's the reason of that? And I do defend that totally. Because suppose you are going to do a barbecue in your house. What do you do? Hey, come on over around 3 p.m., whatever. You start preparing the scenes and preparing the meat and heating the grill and stuff. And you start drinking your favorite Budweiser. I mean, it's not going to be that you are going to receive them drunk like hell, but you're going to be just like somehow happy, just like more, how do you say, more freely minded, you know what I mean? So in the old era of television, they did allow that. But when I get into the 89, that was totally forbidden, you're like, oh, alcohol inside the station, oh, that's a... But I started to fight against the people at the top honchos, and I explained to them, and I bothered them to death, and I said, hey, listen, I'm here to make people laugh. I'm here to make my guests comfortable. The guest could be more brighter a little bit if he's used to have a couple of drinks. And you know what? I did gain the permission. And it was wonderful because we never got drunk. We never were Dean Martins, but the shows were wonderful. And the people were happy. And so very soon, and this is the end of the story, the word of mouth among the famous people in Venezuela was, hey, you can go to Carlos' program and you can drink. They offered you vodka, whiskey, rum, and we offer also tequila. You have the choice. So a lot of them raised and were asking me, hey, Carlos, when do you invite me again? Because it was such a very strange experience to have it in those days. And no other program of the station, of course, was allowed to drink alcohol or inside the properties. But they gave me a special authorization. I had the bar controlled by the security people of the station. I mean, I couldn't be drinking inside my office outside the hours of the program. But 1 hour before the program, the personnel for security came and said, hey, do you want to start drinking? Yeah, okay. And he opened a little bar for me, and we prepared the drinks for the guests in case if we knew in advance what they wanted. And I think that that's a proper use because our job is to cheer up people. So I think that we have the right to be a little bit cheer up too, and that makes them, it's part of our material, of our work tools. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
That was gorgeous. Thank you for that. Like, really, you uncovered 99.9% of what happens in this space, which is that people are either drunk, high, or on Adderall or on worse. You can see very clearly, Carlos. Congratulations. I like you.
Thank you very much. And I'm very sad, by the way, because my sidekick is like my Ed McMahon, my Paul Schaefer, just died last Tuesday, 70 years old of prostate cancer. So I was really hit hard and really in pain with that. And to tell you what kind of show we have, I would like to share. Let me see if I can share with you a picture of something I did. Just like my homage to the. It's just a picture in the, what do you call, the funeral home. Let me check, because people love him. He was very funny. He was clever. And his official name was John Alvarez, but his artistical name was Ivan Lemon. Lemon, just like a lemon, just like the fruit, okay? And then I asked, when the first day we were going to pay him, I was to, let me see if this is your, I don't know where I did publish that. Oh, just a second.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in your space already. His name was Ivan Alvarez, and he told me that his artistic name was Ivan Lemon, like a lemon, like the fruit. And I said, why did you put the name? Oh, because I love the Beatles. I did that as an homage to John Lemon instead of John Lennon. So we crack up, just like, hey, motherfucker, it's not John Lemon, it's John Lennon with an N. So that was the biggest joke he was most famous for. And so I did like a little homage to him in this, well, I hope you can.
I hate to ask you to do this, but would you mind telling us one of your jokes just in Spanish? I'm pretty good with understanding Spanish because we speak French in Canada. I would love to just hear, because I love the way you talk in English, but I find that with the Spanish people I know, you don't really get to know them until you hear them speak in Spanish. I would love to hear one of your jokes, or just talk to us in Spanish for a few minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay. I first am going to tell you the joke in English. Okay, so
you can in Spanish first to see if I get it. That will be the test to see if I can understand the joke.
Okay. You prefer that way? Okay.
We're going to test your ability to intuitively understand Spanish. You have to understand the joke and explain it back to Carlos at the end. All right, here we go, guys.
Perfect. This is not a stand-up. This is just like a single joke,
Yeah,
a simple joke. But I love it. It says a woman like 65 years old called a man like 70 years old by the phone. And perdón, sorry, you wanted Spanish. Let me start again in Spanish. Okay. Una mujer como de 65 años llama a un hombre como de 70 años y le dice por teléfono que, cónchale, que ella lo extraña y que de repente estaba pensando en si podían volver a estar juntos. Entonces el hombre le dijo que también la extrañaba y la recordaba y dijo, cónchale, lo que pasa es que tú te pusiste brava conmigo, tú estabas molesta conmigo. Y ella le dijo, claro que estaba molesta porque tú me engañaste. Entonces le dice él, ¿cómo que yo te engañé? Claro, porque yo llegué aquí a la casa y te conseguí en la cama con otra mujer. Entonces por eso yo estaba molesta. Y el hombre le dice, sí, pero es que tú me engañaste a mí primero. ¿Cómo que yo te engañé a ti primero? Dice la mujer. Dice, sí, tú me engañaste a mí primero, dice el hombre, porque yo te pregunté ese día y tú me dijiste que tú ese día no ibas a ir para la casa y si fuiste, tú me engañaste, porque si tú no hubieras ido, no me hubieras descubierto en la cama con la otra mujer. Y entonces la culpa era, según el hombre, la culpa era de la mujer. So I'm going to the translation fast. The 65-year-old.
Did anyone understand what the joke was? Because my Spanish, I guess, isn't as good as I want it to be.
Okay. You didn't get it?
What about you, Anna Maria, Zach?
Oh, absolutely no. I'm learning. No, I'm very much learning. So no, it was beautiful though. I loved hearing native tongue. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, the joke in English is like a 65-year-old woman calls her 70-year-old man and says, hey, haven't you think of coming back together? Because I have been missing you. And the man says, oh, I have been kind of missing you too. But you were so angry at me. And the woman says, of course I'm angry at you because you cheat on me. You did cheat on me horribly. And the man has said, what? Yes, you cheat me because I came here at home and I found you on bed with another woman. Of course you cheat me. And the man said, yes, but you cheat on me first. What? Yes, the man tells the woman, you cheat on me first. Why you say that? That's totally a lie. He said, no, you cheat on me first because you told me that day you were not going to come home and you came home. So you cheat on me first because if you didn't appear at home, nothing will have happened. So that was just like the most, I don't know what's the expression in English for being hard-faced, rock face. It's like, oh my goodness, the man is telling well, you got the idea.
Incredible. So, Carlos, what's next for you on Twitter Spaces? You've been on here for a while. What's next?
Well, I'm now writing. I'm waiting for an hernia operation. I have to take. I'm waiting for maybe next month. Nowadays, what I'm doing is I'm being a consultant. I work as a consultant for advertising agencies who want to make humor pieces, because there is a problem. There are introvert people and extrovert people, and what we are experiencing now in humor worldwide is a real and serious problem. Is that we are getting to believe, and that's mistakenly, that extrovert people are funny just because they are extroverts. And that's not true. Real humor is an art. Real humor is a technique and have rules like art and technique. Just being extrovert doesn't make you a Woody Allen or a Charlie Chaplin or a genius in comedy. You need other things. You need other elements. You cannot be I love brains, I want to be a neurologist. No, you cannot get to see 2 or 3 tutorials in YouTube and said, okay, I'm going to operate your mother's school. Bring me the drill to open her head. Come on, that's no work. That doesn't work like that. But people believes that humor is just, because so and so Peter is so extrovert. Oh, hello everybody! Yeah, he's more the screamer.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not humor. That's just funniness.
Well,
That's
there's a difference between being a comedian and being a clown.
yes, because you can become what you call the soul of the party. Oh, okay, you are the soul of the party because you know the old cliche of putting the lampshade on your head. Oh, I'm pretending I'm the lamb. Ah, ha, ha, so funny. I mean, 200 years, everybody doing that joke since the 70s. So, but that's not real humor. You know what I mean? That's being an extrovert and someone that other people is shy, is in a corner, maybe he has some autism, Asperger, or the other side of the spectrum, whatever. But they're shy, they're quiet, they don't say anything, and maybe their mind is, in terms of humor, brilliant. Maybe they have some ideas that if you will, for example, you know what I do? I'm going to give you a gift before I leave because I had to do some things now. It's Sunday, it's Family Sundays. You know that Family Sundays are more complicated than a secretary, and how do you say? A meeting in the United Nations General Secretariat. Okay, it's really, really complicated. So, but you know what I love is a Mark Twain quote which says, because listen, how many people have tell you, Anna Margie, you should say, you should have put, you should, why people get into the way you write in Twitter or the thing? I mean, don't, please leave me alone. You have your own account. Say that shit in your account. Why are you going to correct me and tell me how do I have to tell things? You know how many followers I have? I have 106,000 followers. Do you imagine that each and every one tells me to change the way I express myself? I will need like 3 reincarnations to make them, all of them, happy. So Mark Twain used to say, I don't know what's the secret of success, but I know that the secret of failure is to try to make everyone happy. You just cannot do it. I mean, you have to go to bed and necessarily someone will go to bed angry at you, sad at you, or disappointed by you because you are just a human being. I mean, you cannot stretch yourself, your mind, and your body just to make everybody happy because that will cost you your life and your health, So I am sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't like it? I'm sorry, but 300 people did like it. Okay, so I made happy 300 people, and there were only 5 who didn't like it. I'm so sorry, but no, I did. Usually 20, 30 years ago, I tried to become Gandhi. I wanted to be like the Dalai Lama. I wanted to make peace with the whole planet. We are all one human being, one organism at the unison. No. That's not possible. That's not possible. You will never able to have every member in your family applauding a decision you made. I'm going to go to Italy. You will have announced, Italy is too expensive. Italy, the Italians fuck too much. They're going to get you pregnant, Anna Maria. No, don't go Italy. I mean, you will never, if you have, no matter how many members you have in your family, never will happen that everybody will agree. So forget about it. Forget that goal. Don't believe in the false positivism. You have to be like good to everyone, and you have to be just like no. You have toxic people, but you have also toxic positivism. I am doing the war against toxic positivism. I have friends, by God, who send me every day in the morning, "Good morning, Carlos, happy Tuesday." And my answer is, "Thank you, Alex. I already knew it was Tuesday. I don't need you. I don't need fucking you remembering me that today is Tuesday, motherfucker. I know it's Tuesday, coño de tu madre," say it in Spanish. You know what I mean? Imagine, I have 720 people in WhatsApp. I have 720 people in WhatsApp. Imagine all of them reminding me every Tuesday, "Oh, today's Tuesday," and the way it's Tuesday. I mean, I wouldn't do any other thing in my life than answering them. And they're sending just like the rainbows, the happy figures, the smiling suns, whatever. Hey, please send me something useful. For example, send me.
That's a great bit, Carlos. I don't know if that's a bit or a joke, but please remember that joke.
No. I'm just inventing this right now. I mean, I'm just creating this right now to
You're so good
explain.
that you can just talk in humor. Which is, I don't know if you know this, but I learned how to do everything on Twitter Spaces by doing stand-up comedy for 5 to 7 years before I ever did Twitter Spaces.
Wow, incredible.
So that's why I love everything that you're saying, because people don't realize that Twitter Spaces is the peer-to-peer open mic where everyone in the audience has a microphone in their hand. They don't understand it. You understand it.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. And I do love when people interrupt, because you know what? You can have two kinds of interactions. You can have an interview or you can have a conversation. Okay? There is a big difference between an interview and a conversation. If I'm interviewing you, I put you in a pedestal, you know. "Oh, here we have our dear friend Steven Spielberg. He's today with us." And my questions will force him to act like a, you know, a human, just like a historical figure, you know, just like a legend. But the other way you have to do it is like a conversation. Okay, we have Steven Spielberg here, and whenever he's talking about something, you can interrupt him and say, that's why George Lucas once told you so and so. Exactly. When we were doing Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, a conversation is most human, is more honest, is more full of information. Try never to do interviews. Interviews are dead, should be dead, because interviews are from the old era where, "Oh, here we have, oh, I got Elon Musk to get interview him." Don't lose the opportunity. My goodness, if God gives you the opportunity of having Elon Musk in front of you, or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, whatever, don't treat them like gods. Treat them like human people. Treat them like they're your neighbors, and you will get so much beautiful and useful information for you, for your show, for your listeners, and for humankind. That's all. I'm receiving phone calls from my very angry brother-in-law. He's telling me, "What happened to you? You told me at 11 o'clock, and it's 11:13. So I'm really gonna leave now. And thank you for your patience.
Guyana is right beside Venezuela, so we treat our people, our families the same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Well, God bless you all. Have a rest of the Sunday, a wonderful rest of the Sunday. I'm going to my United Nations family meeting. Bye. Take care.
Remember to always be diplomatic.
And remember, it's impossible to please everyone. It's impossible. I mean, I don't know the secret of success, but the secret of failure is trying to please everybody. Get that trap idea out of your mind for the rest of your life. It's impossible to please everyone. When you start doing that and accepting that, you will become instantly happier human beings. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All love.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and really. Oh, and I love hearing people. I have a bunch of people from all different parts of South America I work with actually, and I love it when they speak in their native tongue because it's so pretty. You're right. Like you can really the personality comes
And
out
all
more.
the thing is like that's why like I train to learn new languages because if you meet someone from like South America and you think they're smart in English, you should hear them speak in Spanish. That's when the intelligence really comes out. You're like, oh, fuck. This is who I'm dealing with? Because they always have to constrain their ideas to placate our small brains. What if I tried to go the opposite and tried to understand them? And eventually, like, I used to hang out with these Colombian software engineers. And after a while, I was like, they were translating. They were like, oh, sorry, speaking Spanish. I'm like, no, continue. The nouns are the same, right? The software development nouns are the same. You're just adding everything in between. I'm following. Just to go well.
Connecting the dots.
That's all it is. Yeah. Right. You don't have to have a full understanding. Just be like, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Server. Blah blah blah. Code. Blah blah blah. 3 weeks. The server and the code will be done in 3 weeks. Sounds good.
No, for real. That's how I understand a German because I understand Dutch. So I connect the dots. I understand this, and I'm like, actually, you just fill it in. I mean, we're intelligent human beings. We can fill in a sentence, right? If we
Yeah.
know the very things. I mean, we can at least like follow along.
Carlos
And
might call it connecting the Dutches. Right.
yes.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. There's something wrong with my brain that I can't not make puns. It's actually a problem.
Oh my God, we all. I mean, I can't speak for anybody, but I love hate puns. How can you
Believe
like
me, my wife loves well,
prone?
hate love. Let's put the hate first, right? Just to sequence it properly.
Oh man.
What a moment.
Oh, all right. I'm actually gonna jump out. I have to
Yeah,
figure out
I think.
what I'm going to do today. Oh, you know what? Possibly later. I don't know if you guys are around, but I am. I have to start my LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be doing. I can do that live. I wouldn't mind doing that live. Maybe it
That'd be fun.
helps out people.
That'd be fun. Yeah, we know a few
Yeah.
people that have crossed that river while feeling
Awesome.
stoned. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe put up. Maybe I can put a or do if you're a
Uh,
space. And I'll
what
be
it
able.
would be is send me a note, or can you schedule a time for the space?
I could if I was a different.
Right. Okay. So if you oh, that's right. Yeah. Uh,
No.
so funny.
No,
So funny.
I'm actually going. I'm gonna go do some surfing. So I don't know, and the water. It's really hot today in where I live in Los Angeles. So I'm escaping to the ocean for a while, and then I'll be back. You know what I mean? But yeah, maybe maybe later, maybe in like 6-7 hours around there.
Yeah.
I know
Let
it's
me know like
Sunday. People have
let me
really.
know an hour before, and I'll let everyone know so that they're ready.
Oh, awesome! And
Yeah.
it might be better to do it tomorrow morning, even. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, no, if you want to do it like tomorrow, like right at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that we're trying to do is push people up into the host position so that it's not just me,
Oh yeah.
right? So anywhere I can support other hosts, just call me in and I'll invite everyone, right?
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Amazing. All
Yeah.
right. You've
Thank
been listening. This is the El Syndicato, avec Carlos and Anna Marge.
you,
I
Mark.
can't believe that's your name. Anna
No, this
Marge.
is what I mean. Look, just in that whole interaction, like my name was mentioned like 5 times, and it was said differently, and
Yeah.
I can't be that person all the time. That's like, nope, stop. It's Anna Mariah, and it's not even Anna Mariah. That's only the
Well,
Americanized version. And so when you're,
I think it's how he says it. I think you know where his heart is.
oh,
You know?
absolutely,
Yeah, you know where his heart is.
he's at least reading my name and trying. He's honestly right. A lot of people see
Hmm.
my name and go, oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. Is it it Look, my last name is Jagdero. I've gotten Jagadigo, Jagabat, Jaguar, right? Jagmohan. People will completely portmanteau my name into other things, right?
But here's the thing: I love people who try,
Hey,
especially with
I
because I know that there's no other because this is specifically Dutch language specific, right? So IJ
mhm, mhm.
places the Y because we don't have a Y. So and it's said a certain way. So like in any other language or whatever other native tongue, of course that's going to be pronounced very differently. So I actually enjoy when people try to say the whole name, and only the brave do. It's quite funny. Yeah.
Amazing. I love. It's funny. My cousin, which side? My mom's side. They have Dutch family, and they're Dutch. They live there right now. My cousin spent 2 years in actually like in Denmark, working for a software company. So he had a chance to hang out with all of our family. Because a lot of people went from either Guyana to Canada or UK or Germany at the time in the 70s. So yeah, there's some West Indians all over the place.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna jump out, but yeah, I will catch you guys a little later. And
Yeah.
yeah, I will. Yeah. All right, Sandra, I'm not leaving.
Oh.
I hate when people leave that I know that you know what I mean. Oh, she's here. I'm out.
Oh no,
Oh, man.
I don't
No,
know
I
like that anyway.
I'm gonna go surfing. Yeah, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Enjoy the waves.
Hey Sandra,
They're
how's it
never
going?
worse.
Good. She said she wasn't leaving, and now she's leaving. I don't get it. No.
Our
Scott for life.
she
Now I'm gonna
said she
send you
had to
some
go
DMs.
surfing and she had to catch some waves. It wasn't you, love.
No, I know. I was just kidding. I love her photography. She's great.
Yes.
So I
Best
don't want to be mean to
photographer
her.
on Twitter Spaces.
Right. Well, I don't want to be mean to her because then she wouldn't sell me any photography later, and I'd be sad.
Well, there you go. No, you got to keep the line open to the connect.
That's
right.
right. Sure.
In an NFT world, she's growing poppies over there in her poppy fields.
I'm a believer. Yeah.
Land of the lotus eaters.
Why not? We deserve that once in a while,
A taste was worse than none at all. You said that, Smokey Robinson.
I think so. So what I miss? I'm sorry I'm late again. I don't know.
There's no way. What happened today? We talked to Anne, and she's making some life changes. I think literally potentially changing jobs and flying clear across from California to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. She's making some big life changes, and it's time for her. We talked to Carlos. And Carlos is a stand-up, just such a great guy. We heard him speak Spanish. He told us a joke in Spanish. What else happened? I was talking to Melwell. We were just talking about Melwell's been sitting in the background for a while, and I said, "Hey, what do you notice about our spaces?" And he says, "What did he said?" He said it was the difference between comparing objects and pattern recognition.
Oh.
That's how we described it. I'm like, "What's the difference?" He's like, "You know how you can line up a lot of eggs and see which one's bigger or small?" He says, "Well, what if you're able to now add time and say, oh, the eggs are larger in the morning than the afternoon?" Right? So I think the time series and other arrays of dimensionality. So that's what he's happening. That's a quick recap.
I like it. Wow. Productive day.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So how you been feeling? You've been here more than most people with me.
That's fine. Oh, except my goodness, Mike, you're just amazing. I mean, I don't know how you do it. Whatever you're on, I need that. I mean, you stay awake 24/7, Anyway, actually, I was thinking we need to set a schedule for you.
We're about to institute that. I was talking to Zach yesterday. And yeah, all that is about to kind of come online where we can do these relay races with each other. Yeah.
Cool. See, Zach scares me a little, like this person's going to call me at 4:30 in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah, it'll be the idea is that I don't want anyone to feel bad if they have two of these kind of spaces going at the same time. Like I don't want that. Like how some people get jealous, say, "Hey, you started a space at the same time I started a space." It's like, who cares?
right.
There could be two tables in a bar. Is that okay?
I agree. I know that some people, I don't care, but I know some people get that way. I don't really understand it. And most of the time, behavior like that goes right over my head. Like I don't even notice it. So they're just wasting their time because there's like an 80% chance it's not going to connect. I just want to get, where I'm focused and get to where I'm supposed to be and, have a productive day as best I can.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see what happens when people have the power, right? Which is either co-host or just a speaker, and not a lot of people are willing to just share oxygen.
Well, I am. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I mean, I don't have the life experience that many people do. So I rather, listen and, make a comment if it's something that I think people would be interested in hearing. I'll make an occasional, plucky joke, but, I rather listen and observe and then make a comment later on than hog up the conversation. But you know what? I think that the people who can, take more time in a conversation are people who have done more. They're successful. Why wouldn't you want to hear more from them than from someone else? That just makes sense.
Yeah, I think some people, when a joke bombs and nobody's laughing, oftentimes people will sometimes keep talking so that they get the laugh. And you really see like at the end of a set when someone's only supposed to have a 5 minute set and then it turns into a 7 minute set because nobody's laughing. And so they're just trying to find a way to end on a laugh because nobody wants to end on like, all right, that's my time. You know what I mean? Like it's such a
Right.
right? So people sometimes keep going just to wait for that applause.
But that's funny in and of itself. Like I would end that night being like, okay, well you all hated me, so fuck you.
That's what stand-up is like, And then eventually, like, no, fuck me. I want to figure this out. I'm gonna figure out a way. This interesting thing about stand was I had to realize that the audience was changing all the time. It's always a different audience, even if it's the same people.
It's like, how do you keep up with that and make sure everybody, has a good time? That must be almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. A lot of people try it and they fail, and still they're on Netflix. To be honest with you, does it make sense? Right?
Well, that's what I get. I mean, why is that? Is it like connections, or I need to spend more time on my knees, so to speak? I don't get it.
It's like my mentor in comedy has been doing comedy for 20 years, and he's only been doing comedy for that 20 years. Like he makes bread and butter from it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me they tell you your initial objective in stand-up comedy is to have a great 5 minute set that kills everywhere you go. And he said what people don't realize is that in order to have a great 5 minute set wherever you go, you need to have at least 45 minutes worth of jokes.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But then I understood over time that not the same joke or not the same set will work everywhere. So you have to be fluid.
Oh yeah, I would imagine if you're in, Montana, the mindset out there would be different, as opposed to like Florida.
Or even from Miami to Fort Lauderdale.
Well, that's true too, right?
Right? Because it's like a port city versus the Arkansas of Florida. What about at the Everglades?
Have to get my redneck jokes out.
Yeah, and they love that, right? Just don't tell them about postmodernist history in the Everglades. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. Yeah.
I don't blame them myself, but yeah, no. Sure. But I'm wondering, like some of these people that get the Netflix special, is it because they like, they use like PC jokes, like whatever's sexy at the moment for the far left, they make,
Yeah.
jokes supportive of being anti-right or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Remember how people used to make Bill Clinton jokes?
Right. Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing, and it's fine because a lot of people. Here's the thing, though: the people that made a career making Trump jokes are slowly running out of their careers because they're running out of material.
Well, maybe not for long, but yes, they are.
And, well, the thing is, like, what people don't realize is that what they're watching on TV is not politics. They're watching television. They're not watching politics. They're watching television.
That's true.
The politics is not aired. The reporting of politics is aired, right? You get the snippets,
That's
right?
true.
And as someone who edits video, I can interview anyone in this space and make them seem like an asshole if I clip them wrong.
Editing is everything. You guys are like gods,
It's scary, and I think about sometimes, imagine if I was an evil motherfucker, what I could do with, this shit. And I have to know that people with our level of intelligence aren't necessarily, want to help other folks to the weighted average that we might, So you have a healthy respect for the people that are editing video.
Definitely.
Absolutely. If I
Hi,
could just
Peter.
quickly chime in. Sorry. Yeah. How are you,
I
Sandra?
didn't mean to be rude. How are you, Peter? What are you up to?
I'm good. I'm just I've literally just been lost in Twitter today because of some bullshit that's happened where there's been an artist that's pushed back against AI art, and it is what it is. But it's been kind of fun to troll a little bit. But yeah, that point you were saying about sorry, I'll just back to Michael. You could make anyone look like an asshole if you really wanted to. I'm sure you could make me look like a fucking asshole really fucking easy. And it is
No,
what it is.
I don't
But
think so.
What I was saying the other day, and I wanted to bring this up last night, I think, or the night before, I can't remember, as well, was it comes down to that like, okay, you have the power, so like, what do you do with it? How do you interact with your community? If you start doing that sort of things to your community, then obviously it's not going to be nice. Like, it's not going to win you any favors. So there's also that aspect to consider when you're in that situation. I think like there's certain people like Keemstar. I don't know if he's still a thing or not, but he used to thrive on all that sort of drama. It's just as much as he could. There's two ways of looking at it, I guess.
Well, some people feed off the attention that brings. They don't care if it's good or bad as long as they, feel the pulsation of that drama at any given time. So they create situations that are almost toxic so that they can, get the attention. Yeah, I saw a lot of that during.
Or worse, they
Yeah.
make the conflict so that they prove themselves right about other people.
Oh, that's true. Right.
A lot of
Yeah, I
people
think
see how this works and see how that works. It's like, yeah, do you see how it only happens to you sometimes? No, they can't see that part.
the first person I actually ever cut off in my life was someone that was like that. And it was hard because I've always tried to be kind and genuine, and it was hard to cut someone off, like, just outright, block everything, whatever. But it was just too much, and it was just one of those people that just always managed to make this drama out of everything, big or small, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I was like, nah, goodbye. And it was empowering. I'm not gonna lie. I think
Yeah.
there's a certain level of empowerment when you can actually realize that, okay, some people you just have to let go.
I mean, the sign of good manners is the ability to deal with bad manners politely.
90% of the time. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's taking off. You know how in the classic movies a woman would take off the glove off of her fingers, one finger at a time? That's the way I look at it. Every time you're a piece of shit, one finger comes off the glove, and I'll slowly, weighted average, dollar cost myself into something else. I don't want it. That's why I just do it one finger at a time.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy for it.
I'll give you the pinky punch, and then the 2-finger punch, and then, right? Usually I never have to get to the 5th one. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever gotten to the 5th one on here, because you just don't have to, right? And by that point, everyone else in the audience is, also
Throwing
do.
them tomatoes and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Welch said that you have to fire the bottom 10% because the bottom 10% hate working there more than you hate hiring them. Set them free.
Genius, yeah.
Right?
Right.
I think that brings that back to this point that was said here earlier about which finger is the most important as well. And you could so you could lose your pinky finger and that's fine, but like if you lose your fucking thumbs, you're done. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
It's opposable thumbs.
Now I'm looking at my thumbs going, oh man.
There's so much you can do with every other finger as long as you've got a thumb. Like you could have just one finger and a thumb and you're still pretty much completely capable. As long as you lose that thumb, if you lose that thumb, that's it.
Yeah, that
You're
would
kind of
be a
fucked.
disaster. I'm like I'm like, yeah, that would be terrible.
Same. I'm right there with you looking at my hand like, oh, dude, he's so screwed.
You can't even make a space when you're typing.
Well, that's so true of musicians too. Although I would say arguably with devoted musicians, that would be any finger on the hand. But yeah, I mean that's not cool.
Sorry.
I wanted to step up and say something for the pinky, and it is also important because it has a lot to do with your grip strength. So very important, very important. Okay, carry on.
I did not know that. I guess it is.
Yeah, I had an African tell me about which finger is most important, and it's like invariably it's all of them because take one away and you lose functionality, and so it's like there are people in here in this room, and you might think that they're useless because they're just a pinky finger, but you don't know how hands work or how hammers work or how keyboards work.
I would say the middle finger you could probably lose.
Yeah, if you were thinking about, absolutely. And then you just it's a question, which one would you replace with a cybernetic type appendage, right? If you had to replace one of the digits.
You only use the middle finger so often.
It'd be confusing as shit. Yo, that guy gave me the index finger. What? He gave you the index finger? Dude, it's on.
Now that would be funny. Fitz, what did you do this weekend so far?
I went golfing yesterday. I'm at the store, and then I'm going to go to the beach to meet my cousins, and that's the plan.
I can't.
Wicked nice.
I can't. Are you good at golf?
I'm okay.
I suck.
You know what though? The nice thing about it is that those courses they're all groomed so nice, and anywhere you go, it'd be a cool place to look, and there's always good viewpoints. It's a nice time to get out.
I'm like Happy Madison though, except I'm not like good the way Happy Madison was. So it's just all disaster all the time.
I only use the I think the 7 club because I can hit that straight for about 125, and I just use the same club 125 at a time. That's me. I don't want to have to go searching for the ball. You know what I mean? Like that's like I hate searching for balls. So just like 125, good to go. I get to have a good time, go for a walk.
No, I love searching for the ball because you find other things. So I found, and I bring them back, like I found like underwear, like a sock, and just like some really weird shit. And people are like, "Why are you even picking that stuff up?" I'm like, "Well, I'm doing it carefully, and I just want to show you what's out there. It's the least I can do."
That's what you
And
call due diligence. Yeah.
no, it's just called being a dick, I just like,
Some- those are one and the same time sometimes. Yep.
It's where you come back with some really good stories. Be like, look what I found in the rough.
right. That's what I
Oh,
mean.
I have an idea. You want to test something out, Sandra? If I have to close up this space, do you mind opening up a new one?
Sure.
Or yeah, let's try this in real time. All right, guys. So I'm going to be closing up this space, but if you want to keep talking, or at least talk to Sandra, Sandra's going to be opening up one for a little bit.
Okie doke.
All love, guys.
Bye.